That's the look of a man who just suffered mind blow.
Yeah, we're doing a emergency upload. I can't believe this.
Deus 2 mind blow.
So we get stuck in our ways. Like, it's taken me so long to try park mode on this thing. But you know what? Park mode, it's got that extra oomph for big signals. We just found these 3.
They have names, they're called rings.
This is just like a quick after work dig that we're doing here.
So this is kind of important to this story right here. It's a dried up lake bed. This was about a month and a half ago.
And what got me this, I got nothing on the other modes.
Man, that was bad narration. I didn't get nothing on the other modes. I got a lot of stuff on the other modes. The thing is, I couldn't tell the difference. Everything sounded like a beep.
What got me this was switching to park. Let me show you. First, let me say that park is a very muted program, meaning that you're barely gonna hear anything.
Okay, here I go again with the bad examples when I was doing it live. Let's fix that. Okay, so this is a painting by Claude Monet. And what you might not know if you don't know painting is that there's a ton of gray in this painting, a ton. What are you getting at? And what that does is it amplifies the colors. When you use a more pure color, it's going to pop because there is a lot of gray mixed in with the other colors. It's called chroma in painting, but you could also say color relativity. With the Deus, it is sound relativity. So when you use that pure color, pop, pop, and even this, the background is muted. It's like a lot of white in here, and you get the foreground over in here that is less muted. That makes that pop. The Deus 2 is like that.
That's actually an interesting signal. But lying around here somewhere, there it is something that's larger. Do you hear the difference with that?
That did not do it justice. You can hear size especially well with the Deus 2. You could kind of, like with the Equinox, yes, you could get an idea of when it's a bigger target. But I was able to hear the difference between a ring and a coin.
It really amplifies, and I know that this thing has an equalizer. I really have not messed around with the equalizer at all. But what really got me those rings was the slight difference in sound. I'm wearing my headphones. So if you look at these, the ring is more massive and, coin is thinner. So you're going to get a difference in sound. This just was a epiphany moment. It's taken me this long to try park. I highly recommend it. And I want to figure out what the special sauce is that really amped up the sound when I went over a slightly bigger target. Because let's face it, you're used to coins, when you're, that's the most common target. And I'm used to the amplitude of the sound of that. Anyway, let's dig into that a little bit. All right, so first of all, let's do a sound difference. We got the gold ring over here.
I've had a lot of luck with gold lately. That one was plated though.
And we got the zinc penny over here. Let me move this. Great. Out of the way. Now, watch this. Listen. Listening is the big thing. Now listen here. So, I don't know if this is translating here, but you could hear a slight oomph, a slight more oomph, and that's due to park. So, yeah, we're going to dig into that special sauce.
Forgive me, I'm used to high school students, so I might be overstating this, but the extra oomph in the signal made me realize it's a different type of target despite a similar target ID to a quarter. I saw quarter numbers, but I heard that extra oomph, and I was like, what could this be? Let me definitely dig that. You usually definitely dig quarters, but You get sick of that too. So this just, it's something that cues you into the difference of a signal, and that is valuable. Now, there is a limit to this, and that's where the lake bed, the dried up lake bed, comes in. So everything was kind of sitting at the surface, and summertime had happened, and you have all of these signals laying flat on the ground that just are ready to dig. And that's not a scenario that translates all the time. That's not something that you're going to see all the time. And you're going to have to really struggle to listen to those deeper targets because they're very muted in this program. So, is it going to jump out to you if it's a deep signal? Probably not. But relative to like if you have a coin and a ring at the same depth, yeah, you'll hear a difference. But it's really exclamated at the surface.
So what is this special sauce, you ask? Oh, we're gonna dive in. All right, so step 1, go to park mode. Step 2, click option and go to audio. Select audio, and then scroll down to equalizer and select. And these seem to be the the park settings that really make me hear the difference. That's pretty wild.
And that is completely wrong, as you will see in a second.
Now, this is actually a surprise to me. So we went to fast mode. Actually, let's go to general. All right, so we're in general and option and selecting this equalizer. It's the same darn thing.
Wait a second, bro. That didn't exactly go the way that you expected it to go. I don't think that it's the equalizer.
Okay, well, let's start this over. There's some research I did in the book, and I figured out the difference.
On the Deus 2, there's two main audio types, PWM and square. Wasn't I saying something a second ago about spelling it out for my students? Can XP, spell it out for us? Yeah, so this required some spreadsheet work, and I just basically did some research. I went into the Deus, and I saw which program, which audio type was with which program. So, for instance, General has PWM, sensitive PWM, and so forth. And there's a few ones that use square. Park uses square tones. Fast uses square tones. Now, here's the thing. The programs that I used all used PWM until now. In short, square is a game changer, but let's see what the manual has to say. So this is what the manual has to say. PWM is the traditional XP sound that you would have known on Deus 1 or the wired range. It is dynamic and informative through its wealth of harmonics that vary according to the amplitude of the signal. That sounds like what I just heard, but it's the old one, and therefore giving the operator a good indication of the depth or size of the target. Reading the manual is kind of like watching Les Miserables. Well, okay, let's go on to square, because that's the one that I am just pushing right now. Les Miserables because you don't understand the words, but you kind of know what's going on. Square has fewer, softer, and fixed harmonics, i.e. the harmonics do not vary according to the amplitude of the signal, but only its volume changes in relation to the depth or size of the target. Okay, let me translate that to dumb American. So, this is a zinc penny. We have all dug them in our lifetime, but chances are you probably don't like to dig them. I know I don't. But you know what? There's maybe been 6 or 7 times that I've gotten a signal somewhere between 80 and 86, which is the most common zinc penny range, and it's ended up being gold. To me, this square mode is like another source of information. It's another target ID, which is regular target ID is just numbers. But now you can hear size. This is the best. I own 20 metal detectors. This is the best way that you can hear the differences in size. And if you really listen, you could understand what shapes sound like. I've figured that out with other detectors. It's even more clear with the Deus. Square sound Oh, that is epic. Do you see the sunburn? There we go. Now you can see the sunburn. I put this into practice today, and I had one of the best days of my 10-year metal detecting career. Square sounds work really well with 2 other inputs, and let's get into that right now. So the first thing you need to know is how to change from PWM to square. So basically, when you're in a program, you're going to go to Option, and you're going to make sure that you're on the audio setting like I was. Press select, and there's a bunch of different options. You want audio type, PWM, let's change that. Press the plus sign, that's square. Now we're in my test garden right now, and you hear that muted sound? That is something that is just a tendency of square. So what you could do to help with that is go to audio response. So audio response is 4 right now, and we're turning that up to 7. And that's different than output volume. So audio response, what that is if there's a deep target, it makes it sound more like its surface. I think you need that, and that has really amplified the size of the target. Like if you get a bigger target or a differentiated target, one that's different than, a small coin, like a dime or penny, like you'll hear the difference a lot better when you change the audio response. The other thing that I notice is reactivity. When reactivity is low, you get a more defined audio response. What I mean by more defined audio response is you could hear those shapes better. You could hear sizes better when the reactivity is low. So my big day was at the beach. I'm yet to do these settings in a park, but let me give you a summary of this, and you could try it at the beach if you're nearby one, and you could know that I am going to be testing in my test garden and taking this out in the dirt, and I'll have an update for you then. Another thing that was essential, if you push the ground balance button, push that. Now we're going to go to tracking and plus, and that turns on tracking. That's been a big help for me. So I'm going to recommend that you pause the video here and try these steps. Again, we went over all of these in the video, except for that like and subscribe button. So please make sure you do that. It helps my channel grow. I hope this video helps. I look forward to reading your comments.